We all good? Both of them are good, or yeah? All right, here we go. Hey, everybody, how's everybody doing? Hopefully, everybody's enjoying their Wednesday night. It is football eve. We are less than 24 hours away before the NFL kickoff begins. My name is Juan Rodriguez. To give a little background about myself, I recently just joined the Great American Sports Network about a month ago, and I, do a little bit, write articles, and I will be making weekly videos on every Wednesday about my prediction and matchups of the NFL games that are coming up that week. And every Tuesday at 7, you can always catch me and my brother on the Silver and Bro show talking about the Raiders, Raider football talk. And, come join in the fun. And, with everything going on, it's kind of good that, we're going to have football back. It's going to be a good distraction to get away from the real world for a little bit. And anybody that's a football junkie like me, come and join the fun, whether it's on this page or anything, anywhere you can see me, and I'll explain more where you can catch up with everything. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I've been a Raider fan and a football fan since I was a little kid, and love the game, love everything about it. So this show is going to be talking about weekly matchups that are coming up week one. As you all know, tomorrow is officially kickoff, and it feels like forever since we saw the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. And tomorrow they begin. So, with everything going on, if you have any questions, leave them on the comment section. I will gladly get to them. We will do a little Q&A at the end of the show if there's any other questions, or maybe you just want to tell me, hey, my team's gonna win if I don't pick the team that's gonna you think is gonna win. But other than that, we're all here to have fun. So let's keep it professional as much as we can, and let's get to it. So as I mentioned, tomorrow kickoff is happening, and it's gonna be a good one. It is the rematch of the AFC divisional matchup between the visiting Houston Texans going up against the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. They met in the playoffs. Houston was up big, and Patrick Mahomes and that offense did what they normally did, score big points out of nowhere, and they come back and win it. So what I like about it is now you get you get the matchup of the quarterbacks between Deshaun versus Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be fun. Those two guys look like they're going to be the future NFL QBs to watch down the road when kind of the older heads retire, like Breeze and Big Ben, Rogers, Brady. Once these guys kind of leave, guys like Watson, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, these guys are gonna, take the field by storm. They're gonna be the next superstars in waiting, hopefully. If God forbid injuries, but it should be a good matchup tomorrow. It's gonna be interesting. The Chiefs are returning almost all their starters. A couple players did opt out, and the Texans decided to trade away their superstar wide receiver in Deshaun Watson to Arizona. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to go. But I can't wait. There's a lot of matchups I'm going to like seeing, between, Mitchell Schwartz, the right tackle out of Kansas City, going up against J.J. Watt, the quarterback duel between Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, and then Zach Cunningham versus running back committee by the Chiefs running back game. It's going to be an interesting game. We're going to see what happens. But as far as that, my prediction on that one, the Chiefs are going to beat the Texans. I'm not going to give out a score because it's too, blah. And then, I'm not going to go over the over under because I'm not a gambling person. I'm not one of those type of people. But just flat out, straight out, I got the Chiefs over the Texans. I just think right now the Chiefs are just going to be on a Super Bowl high. They're going to try to give everything they can to the little capacity of fans that they have. And hope when that's my prediction, Kansas City over the Texans. So moving on to the next game, we got the Vikings versus the Packers. Now, two teams made it to the playoffs last year. The Packers making it to the NFC Championship game. The Vikings, going up, losing to San Francisco in the divisional round. They did beat the Saints in the wild card game, but this is going to be interesting. Green Bay has a lot of questions. How's the defense going to look? They were 13-3, but some are calling it a fluke year for them going 13-3 due to Rodgers being the quarterback. The defense does have a lot of questions. Can they stop the run? As you saw in the NFC Championship game, it was a bad outshowing on that run defense. So they didn't address it early rounds. They drafted a quarterback in the first round and a running back in the second. So we're going to see how that addresses, their needs. And the Vikings pulled the switch or pulled the trigger on trading for Yannick Ngakoue from Jacksonville, giving up a second rounder and some other pick, the fifth rounder, I believe. So now that defense looks formidable. And, they got a great pairing on two defensive ends with Daniel Hunter and Ngakoue now on both ends. He is questionable. Daniel Hunter is questionable, so we will see before game time. But they still got Barr, Kendricks. They got Smith and both the Smiths from safety. So it's going to be good. And on this one, I'm actually going to take the Vikings over the Packers. Not because I don't think the Packers are not talented enough. I just think right now, week one, it really comes down to, who feels like they got the better team right now as it stands on paper. And right now it's Devontae Adams for the wide receiver core, and then it's everybody else. With Kirk Cousins in the gang, it's Stephon or no, I'm sorry, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Kyle Rudolph is still there. Dalvin Cook's going to be a good running back, situational for him. But right now, that's what I have it as. I have it as Green or the Minnesota over the Packers as of right now. Moving on to the third game, we got the Eagles going up against the Washington football team. And for the people that are seeing it on the Great American Sports Network Facebook page, I'm sorry that I do not have a helmet. The updated helmet for the Washington football team, they have not come out with those yet, but I'm going to try my best to switch it because it's just the right thing to do at this time. But we just have to keep moving forward with what we got. So obviously, we all know Eagles won the NFC East last year. It wasn't really the hardest division to win because it just seemed nobody was competitive enough, and the Eagles just managed to skate by to win that division. They did beat the Seahawks in the I'm sorry, they lost to the Seahawks in the wild card round, and that was kind of their season. But they are the division champs, and they are going up against the Washington football team that has a lot of good pieces defensively when you really look at it. Defensive line, now you have Montez Sweat, the tackles from Alabama, and now you've got Chase Young, who you drafted at number 2. It's still going to be an uphill battle for the Washington football team, but things are looking up, other than they just still don't know how it looks offensively for them. So right now, I am going to go Philadelphia over Washington at this point. We don't know the situation on Jalen Reagor, the rookie for Philadelphia, but I think they do have enough to at least win against the Washington football team, and then we'll see moving on week 2 how they look. Next game, we got the Patriots at the Dolphins. So this is going to be kind of new for everybody. For the Dolphins, second year, Brian Flores is coming back. Fitzpatrick has been named the starter, so there's going to be continuity there. The Dolphins are going to come back, and they do kind of have the Patriots number quite a bit these last couple games with the miracle, and then last year they beat them in the final week. And for the Patriots, this is going to be the first year in a really long time, no Tom Brady. They got Cam Newton, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, the defense there is still strong up in New England. Bill Belichick is still the head coach, and that's why I am picking New England over Miami, because Bill Belichick is still there. Until something else happens, until some of these other teams on the AFC East say otherwise, I'm still going to roll with Bill Belichick. I still got the Patriots over the Dolphins week 1. The next game, we got the Colts and Jaguars. Now, the Colts made the decision to sign Phillip Rivers to be the starter. And this is going to be the first time in a long time Phillip Rivers finally has a solid offensive line with, that can protect any quarterback. It's just Andrew Luck came a little too late for all that. They have a good running game now. They got a running back committee by Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, Nyheim Hines. T.Y. Hilton's going to be on the outside. It's going to be interesting to see how Indy response to this. They are kind of a sleeper to win this division, and I think if Philip can just give them a little bit more of a boost than they had last year in Jacoby Brissett, I could see that happening. With the Jaguars, it's a total opposite. It is no secret. It is a rebuild in Jacksonville. It's tank mode, and they're doing everything they can as being one of the teams to compete for the number one draft pick. So we'll see what happens. So, with no surprise here, I got the Indianapolis Colts over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Next game, we got the Detroit Lions versus the Chicago Bears. So the Lions now are kind of in the last years of Matthew Stafford. His contract is coming up. They have a good, solid team all around. The Chicago Bears are trying to come back from what they were a couple of years ago, being, that playoff team and, just trying to be a formidable, Super Bowl contender that they were competing a couple of years ago. The only thing is, they did make Mitchell Trubisky the starter. It just seems this is kind of a make or break year for him. And from what I've seen, it's probably not going to end up pretty again, at least for this week for the Bears. That's why I have the Detroit Lions over the Chicago Bears. And not because, the Lions or the Bears don't have the better team or the Lions have the better team. It's just the Bears are 3-14 the last 17 years, week one on the road. So, the last 17 games, week one on the road, they're 3-14. And with everything kind of up in the air, I think it's going to be 3-15 when it's over. I got the Lions over the Bears. Moving on, we got the Bills going up against the Jets. So the New York Jets, they're kind of in a rebuild mode, but Adam Gase is kind of on the hot seat now with all the offseason issues that they had with Le'Veon Bell. What are they going to do as far as, the offensive linemen that did quit on them and they drafted an offensive lineman when they probably should have gone wide receiver, but I'm not a general manager. I'm just looking at it from the outside in. And the Bills are a team that have a sour taste in their mouth after what happened against the Houston Texans in that playoff match they had last year that made them go into overtime, and they lost it. And I think the Buffalo Bills pick up where they left off. I have the Bills over the Jets. I think the Bills defense is probably going to be too much for Sam Darnold, and we'll see what happens. I mean, we're going to have to see how the offense looks. I mean, it's Le'Veon Bell and Sam Darnold. We'll see what happens. It's all about trust in New York. I just don't think they have enough firepower to take on the Bills defense for week one. Moving on, we have the Cleveland Browns against the Baltimore Ravens. Cleveland had a lot of hype last year, some considering them to maybe win the division, maybe complete for a playoff spot. It just did not work out. It just never happened because, they were deemed the dream team, and sometimes it ends up being a nightmare. So for me, it's weird too. We're going to see how it looks. It's either Baker has to get it done or some changes are going to have to be made, whether it's coaching again or just a whole roster turnaround. And with the Baltimore Ravens, they were the number one seed last year. They got bounced by the Titans due to Derrick Henry and the Titans, surprise emergence of just upsetting people left and right. And, Ravens just want to prove that they can and they will go far, and they are a sleeper for a Super Bowl championship this year. I think they can contend. With all the moves they made and with all the signings they did, I do believe Baltimore is a Super Bowl contender. And I do think that they do get the victory over the Browns week one. And then here we go. Moving on to the next game, we have the Seahawks taking on the Falcons. So this is going to be interesting. The Seahawks, another Super Bowl contender with all the signings they did, and they just want to get the best out of Russell Wilson. They want to try to do everything they can to get the best out of him. With the Falcons, offensively, first rounder in every position you could think of, from all the linemen to wide receivers to the running backs to the quarterbacks. The Falcons are a sleeper. The Seahawks are Super Bowl contenders. It's going to be a close matchup, but I'm going to go with history. Matt Ryan is 5-2, including the playoffs against the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to go Falcons over Seahawks week 1. So that's going to be my thing. That's going to be my prediction for that one. Then moving on to the last morning game, we got the Carolina Panthers versus the Las Vegas Raiders. So it's going to be new for two teams. For the Raiders, new city, new everything. There's Derek Carr is going to come back for a 7th year. It's going to be 30 year under Coach Gruden. That's only going to be the first time, I believe, in his career where he's going to have the same staff for the last 3 years. He's never had that. So this is going to be a big year for him. He either has to prove that he can make it, or the Raiders are going to have to look somewhere else. For the Panthers, I mentioned yesterday, if you saw the Silver and Bro show yesterday, new everything. New head coach, new quarterback, new offensive coordinator, just new everything. New players. Kuechly's gone. Tahir Whitehead's going to have to take the role. The defense is young and talented, but the problem is they're still young. And my prediction is the Raiders' offensive line will control the trenches just enough for Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs to do damage against that young defense. I'm going to go Raiders over the Panthers week 1. Moving on, we got the Chargers going up against the Bengals. So the Bengals took Joe Burrow. The Chargers took Justin Herbert. But with Tyrod Taylor there, it's going to be Joe Burrow versus Tyrod Taylor. Two teams are going to try to find their footing in this. They're still kind of – the Chargers are in a rebuild mode and the Bengals are in a rebuild mode. But this is going to be a good matchup to see how the franchises are directing in and what kind of direction they're going. It's going to be interesting to see. And right now, as it stands right now, I got the Chargers over the Bengals in this game. And then my matchup, at least, my game of the week, is going to be the Saints against the Buccaneers. So it's no secret, unless you've been living under a rock, the Buccaneers recently signed former Patriots quarterback Tom Brady. So now we get the quarterback matchup we've always wanted in the Super Bowl, but now we get it in the division. So now we got Tom Brady versus Drew Brees, Bruce Arians versus Sean Payton. It's going to be an interesting matchup. It's going to be interesting. You've got the Saints, who for the last couple of years trying everything they can to go to the Super Bowl, and it feels like the refs kind of get them at the end. And I think they're going to try to do everything in their power to not leave it up to the refs' hands this year. As far as the Buccaneers, there's a lot of hype, just like there was a lot of hype from the Browns last year. The defense is solid. You wouldn't know that because the offense kept turning the ball over. They turned it over 41 times, but the defense is solid up in Tampa Bay. They got the pieces on offense. All they needed was a solid quarterback, and they managed to get one of the greatest ones to ever play. That's a heck of a steal. I expect Tampa Bay to compete for the division against the Saints, and this is my matchup of the week again. But as far as week 1, who do I got? I'm going to take the team that's actually known each other, played with each other for a few years now, over the team they're just building right now, but are strong enough to compete. But for week 1, I have the Saints over the Buccaneers. And then the last Sunday afternoon game, we got the 49ers against the Cardinals. So the Cardinals are being led by Offensive Rookie of the Year, Kyler Murray. This is going to be his 2nd year. He has a new toy now. He's got Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald, DeAndre Hopkins. He's got a new running back in Kenyon Drake. All I'm saying, yes, I think it is Kenyon Drake now. The defense is solid now, especially with the drafting of Isaiah Simmons. Patrick Peterson is back. Chandler Jones is back. It's going to be a different look for the Arizona Cardinals. But the 49ers are the representing NFC champions from last season. The team is solid. They got better through the draft. They drafted for need. And I just think San Francisco is going to pick up exactly where they left off, just trying to compete for that division and trying to go back to the Super Bowl. And they have the pieces. They got George Kittle. They got a top defense, probably the best defense in football. They got a running game. Kyle Shanahan is ready to take the next step, I believe. I have the 49ers over the Arizona Cardinals. And then we end up the Sunday wrap-up with Sunday Night Football with the opening of the new stadium in Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Rams open up SoFi against America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. This is going to be interesting. Dallas has Super Bowl aspirations. They just can never put it together. If the defense can hold up, I believe they can make a deep run. They have everything they need in offense. It's just if the defense can just meet them halfway, they can go for a deep run in this year's season. For the Rams, it's a bounce back year. Made it to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Last year they kind of dipped off. They made some new signings. They just signed Jalen Ramsey to a new contract. It was 5 year, 105. Jared Goff is still there. The receivers are there. The tight ends are there. The offensive line is there. The defense is still solid and is still solid, especially with Aaron Donald. You can always build around that. I just think right now, for my money, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys over the Los Angeles Rams. And I know I'm going to get a lot of heat being a kid from California. I just think right now, the Cowboys right now probably have a better team than the Rams, but I don't expect the Rams to not give a fight. They will fight against the Dallas Cowboys. They will put up a good game. I just think right now the Cowboys are a little too much for the Rams. And then we wrap up week one with a couple of Monday Night Football doubleheaders. We have the Giants going up against the Steelers. The Giants, no more Eli Manning. It is now Daniel Jones' team. And it's going to be interesting to see. He had a good year, 26 touchdowns last year. That's really good. Now we have to see if he can take the next step to elevate this team. The defense is kind of questionable, so it's up to that offense to kind of keep the Giants afloat. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is kind of it for Big Ben. It's either now or never. And the Steelers did everything they can. They gave Big Ben a great defense. The offensive line is intact. The running backs are back. The wide receivers are healthy. If Big Ben stays healthy, the Steelers can surprise a lot of people this year. And with the defense that they have, I think still the Steelers have a chance to be one of the best defenses in football. That's why for Monday night, the first Monday nighter, I got the Steelers over the New York Giants. And then to wrap up week one, we have the Denver Broncos over the Denver Broncos going up against the Titans. So the Denver Broncos just got devastating news that they lost Von Miller for the year. Bradley Chubb is still recovering from that ACL injury. Everybody from that secondary no-fly zone's gone. From Chris Harris, everybody's kind of gone. The defensive line is kind of scathing by the bits. And, secondary and linebackers, they did release Todd Davis. So there is question on what was once a strength is now kind of a question mark. And now the Denver offense has something formidable to match up to that defense that they once had. Drew Lock coming in, young guy, he looked promising. He's now got a plethora of wide receivers from Cortland Sutton to Jerry Jeudy to Hamilton to Noah Fant. And now he's got Melvin Gordon with Phillip Lindsay. The offensive line is questionable, but they do have a chance to compete. We just have to see what the defense look like. As far as the Titans, everybody's back. Henry's back. Ryan Tannehill's back. The offensive line kept intact. The defense is the same. I already expected this to be a close one, but with the loss of Von Miller, the questions of Bradley Chubb, and we really haven't seen enough of that offense of Denver to see if maybe they can compete yet. I'm going to go with the team that was in the AFC Championship game last year. Give me the Titans over the Denver Broncos. And that is a wrap-up for week one. So as I mentioned earlier, I do have two shows. If you are watching right now on the Facebook Live on the Great American Sports Network, every Tuesday at 7 p.m., me and my brother, we do have a show. It's called the Silver and Bro Show, where we talk about the Raiders matchup. Yesterday, we did talk about the Panthers. It is up and loaded on the page if you guys want to check it out. We talked about the Panthers, the offseason the Raiders had. Next week, we're going to talk about recap against the Panthers as we prepare for the Saints. And every Wednesday here, same network, same everything, and you can either catch this on my YouTube page on J-Rod Sports and Discussions Debate, and on my Facebook page, All Sports Talk. Every Wednesday, same thing on Great American Sports Network, 7 p.m. both times. I'm going to be doing weekly NFL picks. I'm going to be doing who I think is going to win, talk about the matchups, see what's going to happen, and hopefully, you guys join the fun. And it's going to be a great year. And hopefully, with everything going on, we need a distraction. And I can't think of a better one than the NFL kickoff. So with everything being said, do we have any comments, anything at all today? No comments on anyone? No? Okay. Then I think that is it. If you guys have any comments, just leave them. I'll get back to you. Other than that, I want to wish everybody good luck. Everybody get excited. We are less than 24 hours away from kickoff. And let's just get this games rolling, man. We need this. So until then, I will see you guys next week. And yeah, good luck to everybody out there.